I woke up with an idea. I decided that I was going to make an egg, and you may be thinking, but you aren't a chicken, how can you make an egg? Well, I'll be using my 3D printer, and it won't just be any egg. Of course, it's a Minecraft channel, so it's going to be a Minecraft egg. But again, that might seem boring, but don't you worry, it's an egg of the dragon variety. To do this, I'm going to need to get myself an egg in the game, so I can see exactly what it looks like. And there's only one way to do that. Alright, here we go. We have the egg. So now we can look at it, scan it, see exactly what it looks like and how we can import it into Blender. So I can remake it and then make a cool lamp out of it. Alright, let's start sculpting away. Okay, well that didn't take too long at all to get the basic idea of the egg shape. Now, the egg is sort of black and grey and mottled and all that, but I think I'm just going to do a plain black one for simplicity reasons. However, the purple spots need to have a bit of pizzazz about them. So, I'm going to be adding in the purple bits in a cool, funky fashion right now. Having looked at the egg in the game and comparing it to this, the purple spots seem to be the exact same on all four sides. There's a little bit of variation on the top down, but do you know what? For the sake of simplicity, I'm not too worried about that. So I'm going to get all of the spots that we've made. There we go. We have a basic idea of a nice dragon egg. I've got two ideas. So this main part I can print quite easily. I can cut all these bits out, and then the difficult part will be actually getting the purple bits into the thing. Now, I've got some various different filaments, which I'll try printing and see a bit of trial and error. I've made all of the holes for all the bits to slot into in this, which is fine and dandy, but I want this to light up, which would be very cool. And this is not the way forward to make it light up. What I need to do, I think, is to have these holes go all the way into the center of the whole thing, and then like a strip of lights up the middle, or maybe like lights interwoven across into the thing. Now, when 3D printing this bad boy, it's going to be very difficult because of all the overhangs and the extra bits, but it's not impossible, it's just difficult. These have to then be printed separately and then fit into these as clear bits. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to print this, and then we will print some of these as test pieces to see if they fit. Let's get to printing. We have our egg into the slicing software. We're going to give it a nice little slice. And there we go. 3D printing is so cool, man. Look at all the little bits. So I went to change over from my clear filament to my black filament, and I definitely don't have enough left. So I'm going to order some more. That was nice and quick and easy. Here we have the fresh black filament, which I'm going to chuck on, and then we're going to get to printing this lovely egg. All right, 3 hours later, and we are here. And let's get this bad boy off. It's not coming off. Okay, I got it off. So we have the egg. Of course, there are a lot of supports in it at the moment, which will come off if you squeeze and pull them. But I'm going to peel it all off, get it nice and smart and tidy, and then I'll show you it when it's a bit cleaned up. It's looking better than expected, to be honest. All of this rubbish came out of it, which is fantastic. And I'm going to be trialing it without putting anything into the holes. And then if it looks rubbish, I'm going to 3D print some white bits or some purple bits to ping into these holes. So let's put the LEDs together and see what it looks like. With the LEDs in, you can start to see how it's supposed to be looking. The annoying thing is that the LEDs, there's no dispersion. So I'm going to attempt to do either some blanking plates on each of the open holes, or a big blanking plate up the middle. That might work better. And it might be a lot simpler, but I'm going to try with some clear filament and some white filament, and we'll see what comes out looking best. Back into the software we go, and I have two options here. Option number one is I put a cube up the inside, which feeds all of the light into it and then disperses it out through the holes. Option number 2 is I fill every single individual hole with its own little cube. Option number 1 will be a lot better, i.e. to make. But option number 2 may look cooler, so I don't really know what to do. I'm going to try both. I'm not going to try both. I'm going to try the easy one. And then if the easy one looks awful, I'll then try the hard one. So this will sit up inside the egg. And the idea is it will make it out of something translucent. So the only question is how thick this should be and what it should be made out of, really. So if I turn it upside down and then print it, we're kind of, you know, Bob's your uncle, away we go. Let's go ahead and print this. I'm going to print it in white and I'm going to print it in clear, and we'll see exactly which one comes out looking best. I've got my clear filament here and I've got my white filament here. So we're going to slot them in and see how they look together. Not together, you know what I mean. So with the clear filament, you can quite easily see, you know, each individual bulb through it, but it's you know, dimming the lights and holding them into place. And then if we put the egg over the top, once it slots in, there we go, you can see that it gives quite a nice effect. You know, it's cool, but it's not quite there. You can see, especially through there, there's quite an obvious, you know, clear gap, which I don't think the white one's going to fix, but you get the idea. Now, with the white one, again, you can quite clearly see each individual LED, and if we slot the top on, then it's I don't know, I don't think it's much better. So I'm going to try and stick the individual pieces in and see how that looks. But first, I do have to print them. I'm just going to start with an L-shaped piece. I've made this slightly smaller than it should be just to see how snugly it fits. And we're going to print it out of white filament because I do think that would be the best. But I might be wrong. So let's whack it through the printer and see what it looks like when we plug it into the thing. There it is. And you can see on the egg, kind of, exactly where it fits in there. So I'm going to get that in and see if it fits. It's in there and it's a little bit too snug. You can see it can... Oh, I thought that would fall out immediately. Alright, well, good news then. Let's stick the lights in. As you can see, the light is in fact coming out through it. It's also coming out through the sides, so that's what I mean. It might be a little bit too small. The general effect is quite good, to be honest. I'm not upset at this. I think it's alright. I changed the piece size, so this is the old piece, and this is the new piece, and the new piece fits like a glove and even sticks out a bit, which is actually very cool. Of course, if I squeezed it would go straight in. So let's plug it in and see what it looks like. There's very little light coming. You can see it almost looks off to one side, but there is very little light coming through there, and it's wedged, which is, you know, good, nice and solid. So I've got one extra trick up my sleeve to see if we can get this going, and then I think we can print all the bits and stick it all together. Whilst the piece might slot in quite nicely, it's leaving, you know, gaps around the edges. So what we need to do is essentially, if I expand these extra bits out, only about 1 millimeter will be perfectly fine. Then you end up with something that looks a little bit like this. So the actual unit will go into the hole and it should stick as per the other one just did. And then you've got sort of an overhang which is on the outside, which then will be, you know, it will stop it from going all the way through, for one, and two, it will cover up any extra bits, any cracks and stuff like that. So I just need to do that for all of them and give them a try. Although, just to be safe, I'll print this one on its own first. It works. After printing, filing, sanding, reshaping, and building for probably a good 2 hours, I've come up with this. I don't think that's too bad at all. Look at it, nice little egg lamp we've got there. Now, of course, it wouldn't be very Minecraft if you just had this. No one's going to know what it does, what it means. So naturally, I 3D printed myself a nice little Jamps to go with him. Now, this guy is the first one I did, and he's a bit solid, you know, doesn't do a lot. So I thought, well, I've got to redesign that and have another go. And that's when I came up with this little fella here. Now, this one does have fully movable arms and legs. Not that you can see it because the camera won't focus, but there he is standing next to his giant dragon egg. Well, that's all from me. I hope you enjoyed looking at this sort of process into how I do 3D printing and things like that. It's a bit of a side hobby, something I might expand in the future. Maybe it could be some Jamps merch, who knows? Anyway, I hope you enjoyed it. If you didn't enjoy it, then check out another video. If you got to this part of the video, that means you definitely liked it, so drop a like and maybe subscribe if you fancy watching some more. Goodbye.